Presence making it known. You see Ons, he knows he can't just turn at any time. Yaki, the pulse bomb, gets a few players low. That'll be the immortality field out from Twilight.
I mean, the kinetic grass came at such a good time from Choikoven. The shock below after 3 players getting hit with a pulse bomb, but he's able to stave off a lot of the damage and still allow the shock to use the air matrix. Striker goes for a bomb of his own and takes Fate very low. This is going to tax the healing resources of the Mayhem a little bit too much this late in the fight. Twilight's able to find a quick double kill, and you can see the further away that Chris is from Fate, the longer it takes.
Twilight wasn't expecting it, and just the volley of orbs came through at the right time. They'll lose both supports here as Twilight comes off of the spawn, working his way back into the fight now.
Yeah, now San Francisco try and transition into stall as much as they can. BQB getting hit with an aggression, but there wasn't any follow-up from Striker. He couldn't find the finish on the kill. Kill had to back away as well. The longer San Francisco can keep this point under their control, though, the more time they'll have to recover from this and at least get some switches in now. Aren't switches over to the Sombra?
Yeah.
A bit earlier on, as well as an amplification matrix, so no support ultimates up now for the Mayhem, but Twilight's already gone down. BQB has a pretty viable angle there as he tried to line Violet up, now turns his attention towards the Gravitic Flux. He's not needed, though, as Yaki is there to catch the shock as they drop down. Striker finds a pulse bomb, but that's about all it's going to be. Yaki throws one of his own because he knows a round is done, and the Florida Mayhem. And now the Mayhem kind of know that, all right, well, they don't really have the Ash, so the shield tick could be a big factor. Prevent Arms from getting an off angle, and we can really shut down their DPS. And already the front lines are clashing here between these two, and it's Choikoven and Smurf that come up second best.
You're going to lose this every time. If you're the shock, you're going to lose this type of setup because, you know, playing the Genji Ash against...
Now he bounced towards the point here. He wants to start a fight as soon as possible. Smurf already disintegrated, and the shock are going to get completely crushed as a result.
It has been all Florida Mayhem, man, early. It's been a bad look for the shock here, at least on map number 1. It'll be a blade from Yaki. They're going to use the Gravitic Flux as well. So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe you see the shock. Well, actually, they're so close. I was going to say,
they actually get some significant damage and, again, test the healing bandwidth of the Mayhem. Gravitic Flux comes out, but Arndt has already been taken down. Yaki keeping tabs on him for the entire round so far, but that's the double pulse for Striker. He was waiting for an opportunity and he found it. And at the nick of time, San Francisco finally enter the round and take the point. That early pick, and it's their amp matrix. The shock had no time to get away from it. Arndt goes for the EMP and he hits the front line of the Florida Mayhem, but Fate and Gargoyles seem unperturbed. Chris and Gangnam Jin still there to keep them alive, keep them topped up, and San Francisco, my God, they are behind the 8 ball this morning. Striker there will just have to try and stall the point as Choikoven's going to have to deal with 5 players from the Mayhem, keeping him at bay. And he won't be able to touch San Francisco. Choikoven. Okay, so yeah, Nano on his Smurf as he gets into the Honey Lodge here and trying to pressure the supports down. Immediate immortality field thrown down by Gangnam Jin, but Byram is still removed here. Fade out of the pitch here. A 2-for-1 trade thus far, but San Francisco have also lost Arndt and Striker, so the only DPS is probably coming from Smurf right now, who has plenty of it with that nano boost. Violet gets involved as well. And with the nano boost, San Francisco are able to break through despite losing both.
Practicing, along with putting in tons of hours on Widowmaker.
Yeah. All right, here's the bubble again, given over to Smurf. He dives in, Discord Orb, applied immediately, and he is done. Yaki gets to the back line and removes Twilight, so the lion's share of healing also taken away from San Francisco. In a heartbeat, they lose the tip of the spear and the half behind it.
Florida just pushing up, taking space, getting some extra ult charge in some of their players. They lose Yaki, and this will be a Choikoven using the grab, Genji, and play it into like BQB and Yaki. It's a huge ask.
The McCree switch from BQB, it's going to be a 3-player EMP connected though, and again, when the ultimates come online for San Francisco, they win the fight pretty convincingly.
Yep. I mean, that's how this composition works, right? But the way it's supposed to work is you can...
From Fate, Violet wants to push up as much as he can, but Smurf's already gone down, and there's an amplification matrix in place, so Violet can't even peek towards the right. BQB surges ahead, flashbang at the ready. And San Francisco, yeah, they're going to get kicked back to spawn now, and Choikoven probably really feeling the lack of graviton surge there, throwing it here into that door.
Here onto Smurf to just keep him alive, and Twilight takes out Yaki, so be a Deadeye coming in from the side here. It doesn't look like he can get anything. Now the blade has to be big.
Striker Looking for this McCree kill, still needs to respect, but he's going to go into Blade anyway, and he finds BQB. Transcendence from Byram, a little bit too late to keep the McCree alive, but most of the Florida Mayhem is still here. That EMP hits them very hard, though. They had to group up for the Transcendence, so they were sitting ducks for the EMP. Trickle a couple plays in now, but that cut is so darn close, and yes, San Francisco get themselves a 90-second extension of time, and they can head into the castle. Goes for the grab. Okay, the Immortality field was well placed though by Florida. They're able to benefit from that hugely. That grab just holds them together. Eventually San Francisco are able to surge ahead though. They push through and they get rid of Gargoyle first. And with Fate down, there's no shields left for Florida. And this is where Troy Hoban just gets to chase after individuals, and Byram,
he knows Byram's around here somewhere.
Slip. The cart gets across the line though. And San Francisco get to bypass a lot of them. Continuing to step up, huge hit on Striker. That's going to force an early translocate. It was just a sliver of health, and BQB lingers a little bit too long in the line of sight of Arns, and he combines well with Violet to find that pick off. Now Arns can wrap around a little bit, but Trichoban has been felled. Florida have the shields to work with, and now they have an Amp Matrix, and Striker gets minced.
Yeah, I mean, you see it from, so when we talk about like shield pressure and just like,
it's going to make things a little harder. Bob is now deployed in a flanking position for the shot, so they've got threats in front and behind. In Twilight, looks like he was just a little bit overloaded in terms of
they get nothing out of that EMP.
I mean, Florida backed away. Now they're going to use a lot of their ultimates, though, Matt. Going to be Transcendence from Byram and the Blade from Yaki to find two. Fate had already used Supercharger, and in fairness, Florida used a lot in that fight.
Yeah.
Need to get a good position to use this Amp Matrix in. They would prefer to use it on the bridge, but they had to settle for it in this opening now just outside of spawn. They're still able to catch the front line of the Mayhem though, and all's well that ends well in that regard. And they'll get the stabilize and actually set up here on the bridge.
Yeah, it's a big fight win. You come in, you just use the Amp Matrix. That means you're allowed to hold on to this Supercharger for the next fight. Supercharger, one of the more high impact ultimates in terms of fight win percentages, so
one might just die to the explosion.
So you have an EMP here for the shock. Wait,
my! What a way to open it up, Fate.
At this time, oh!
An absolutely gargantuan halt, and it's going to take more than this rather lackluster gravitic flux to stop the Mayhem. And Striker that may or may not be important, depends on how much pressure Striker gets put on him in the next few seconds. Look at his Amp Matrix, look at how much the Shock are forced to bend around this corner now. We're in under a minute for the Florida Mayhem here in the San Francisco Shock have been able to make this close. Violet goes down, Fate finds him, and the cart gets home. But it's going to be a close one. A scant 8 seconds separates these two, Tracer and the Ash. So finally they're reverting to what considered to be a little bit more regular. But they lose both of their supports. They're trying to rotate, and in the meantime, Violet and Twilight just get mulched.
They're going to put pressure on the Smurf here, try and get him out of the equation. Yep, now he's going to get a longer respawn.
Matrix Gangnam Jin's used one of his own now. And that's Florida's Immortality field that gets used there. Despite using their field first, San Francisco able to find a pick on Yaki early. And they're going to roll over the top of them. Unbelievable stuff here. San Francisco now in position to work this point. Gravitic Flux for Gargoyle gets him up in the air, and a bit of breathing room wasn't really what the Mayhem needed. San Francisco take point A in an unlikely fashion. Sunrises, he'll return. All right. Transcendence had to be used there for the Gravitic Flux. Twilight goes down early, and this is the Mayhem trying to end things now before they get too much more out of hand. Yaki gets that blade he was forced to sit on. And it gets what he was looking for now. Diamond's in playing from the high ground here, drops down, Amp Matrix deployed, Shukyobin disintegrated. But San Francisco, I mean, they got away with absolute murder. Into accretion combo, textbook stuff from the Mayhem.
Yeah, halt accretion and one shot finishes him off. As now you have to use Immortality field here really early. I don't know if you're going to be able to keep this going if you're the Shock.
That's a big dynamite.
You Smurf, yeah. But look at where this is going to put you in terms of ult charge for the Shock. It wasn't a long fight. Like, Twilight will have this. Not worry about a blade at all, which is quite nice.
And Matrix and Twilight, look at how low Gargoyle went. Did they get blown up? Shoykobin is able to find Gargoyle with the accretion there. Knocked up now. The Bob comes in, but Smurf's the only one down so far. And San Francisco fighting their gear at just the right time, Matt. It's one apiece here in this series. it's not that easy. You have to time your jump really well with the hypersphere coming back at you, but he's got up there. And now we'll see if the Mayhem can... Oh my god.
See you later.
Rascal. Oh! I don't even know how BQB saw Choikoben there, but he's able to pick him off, and 3 players have already fallen from San Francisco. He's got kicked in the breadbasket. So the Shock now need to give up more ground. And once more, San Francisco are in a compromising spot. They have to find a way to regain this high ground control whilst contesting the point as well. That's a good start. Byram goes down to Rascal, who eventually has to trade himself out for it. But with Yaki missing now, San Francisco, I mean, you do not want to be caught in this small room against Choikoben's hyperspheres, but that's where the Mayhem are.
And this offense for the Florida Mayhem started with, what, like 6 minutes as BQB gets 2 exit kills here, one on the Striker, one on a Violet. Now
Gargoyle needs an immortality kill to be given to him, and so it is. Now the Blade can do more work.
Yeah, you might be able to get aggressive and with their Supercharger Blade and then Transcendence as well. Oh, a dash through.
I mean, we kind of saw it coming, Matt. That is now 11 final blows and 2 deaths for Rascal. Taking over. Troy's a little low. Still gets hit by the accretion despite trying to use Smurf Shield to get out of the way, but that's the dash through from Rascal, and Twilight has the extra damage for Gargoyle. Gangnam Jin is not going to be able to stall out. Rascal trained on him. Laser focus. What is this?
Ooh.
Why are we even spending weeks? MVP right here. Brawl Star.
They're waiting for a Striker to get in position here to get a hack.
All right, Nano on the Smurf, and he gets in, and well, there was a front line for the Florida Mayhem. It only existed for a brief blip in time, but it was there. Fleeting. Smurf now is going to jump back in once he's been topped up and deal with the...
Try to EMP potentially if they all start to come towards the point.
And they possibly will. They're probably going to play around the Orisa here, as there's not many safe places to be right now for Florida. So an EMP
barely gets
devastating. There it is, 4 players caught by that one. That's probably all you're really going to need. Gargoyle steps up. Bob was hacked twice, so never really fired a shot. And even though it was a nice little bit of dynamite here, the immortality field has to be used for the Mayhem to even step foot on the point, and it won't work out. Now the Shock, 4 minutes for 1 tick, and they have a Blade. So a different Nano Boost target.
I gotta let him get some armor.
Here we go. Dragon Blade, the Cyber Ninja strikes, and Rascal's found the third. Oh, yep. He finds the hurty spot. And the San Francisco Shock now with just 1 tick required to win the map. They're going to do so with apter confidence. Rascal, 19 final blows, almost there's no safety for Gangnam Jim and Byram playing this way. BQB has a really small angle to work with as well. Oh no! Yaki tries to go for Ras, but he wasn't deflecting, and the headshot was found. Violet just picks up BQB. Violet, by the way, who's been a sniper in and of, in his own right so far over this series.
Mayhem battling back though.
Yeah, I mean, look, they actually managed to group everyone up pretty well. Despite Yaki going down on that high ground, they still have the bulk of their forces here, and the healing was good. Violet's able to pick Gargoyle up, though, as he's held aloft in the Transcendence that was thrown in. This is so aggressive from him. Who's there to capitalize? Choikoben, I guess, steps up and says, all right, okay.
I mean, you're keeping Choi alive, and you have a Smurf coming off the spawn, but Yaki gets 2 with a Blade. But the cart goes through, Mitch, as the Shock are able to get, I believe, Smurf.
Mayfair. Now let's see what they can do with these ultimates. EMP gets Gargoyle. Oh, their front line's gone, though. Nicely done by San Francisco.
Yeah, and the Mayhem invests their Blade there. They don't even get Transcendence out because, well, Violet doesn't have it. So that's a pretty...
Doesn't go for the Gravitic Flux. What discipline to hold on to this now and know we can just push in and try and deal with Gargoyle. Immortality field nicely done by Gangnam Jin, but Choikoben doesn't care. Invest all your resources you want in killing him. The cart was still moving.
Yeah, and Byram's Transcendence comes in when a lot of the players from the Mayhem are already still, like, pretty healthy.
Okay, so Supercharge gets used here. Choikoben goes for a Flux that catches the front line. Fake just floats out of it as he fortifies. And Yaki getting rid of Violet is quite big. Immortality field is used. Yaki can dash, and he does. Nicely done. That is very clean.
Yeah, so Yaki with a dash through gets 2. He'll have a Blade for the next fight. So Yaki with a Blade, Gangnam Jin with an
outside of staying on the cart. Here's our Matrix. See the halt there. A lot of damage on Choikoben. And the front line again is hacked. Now Byram goes down with Transcendence, but that's the only kill. I mean, San Francisco can't finish off Beta Gargoyle, who was so low, and now the Mayhem get to crack back with a Flux and Blade of their own. Smurf is definitely done here, and San Francisco don't get what they were looking just to have him caught out. Some really, I guess, bad out positioning here for the Florida Mayhem in the last couple of moments has hurt them. Choikoven's going to have a hefty amount of shielding, and Arns is sitting pretty here in the background. Has the sideline that he needs. Yaki can't get to him because Striker just ripped him to pieces. And this card in overtime now is looking to get home.
So they did get it into OT, the Florida Mayhem.
Get BQB out of this position, except Arms getting a headshot. San Francisco don't have the mobility outside of Smurf to really get there. BQB dropped down voluntarily here, and Smurf eventually gets picked up. Card is just being contested now. Joy, it has to be a Transcendence now for Violet to keep them there. Does Twilight step forward into the healing? He does, but I mean, there's a shield in the way, and kind of hard to break through it, yet they managed to do so. Fate's shield goes down. He eventually is mowed over, but San Francisco are not able to stop the Mayhem in their tracks.
I mean, you still have Smurf here just going around on the ball. He'll fall eventually.
Build up another Transcendence. He's already a third of the way there. It's a dangerous Widow flank, to be sure. Immortality Field has to be used. That is now gone for Gangnam Jin. And Fate drops. Choi now starting to turn up the heat a little bit more. Someone on Twitter asked me to give Choi a bit more credit. We give Sigma's MVP every map, every game. Me and Matt do, so don't worry, he's getting his love.
He's also
San Francisco, the Violet can stay alive through that. This forces the same out from the Mayhem right now. Byram goes for his ultimate, his supercharge is down. Notice that Smurf and Choikoven, they played forward again. They knew the EMP was coming, so they get aggressive once more. And Gargoyle and BQB are gone. Violet is wrapped all the way around. Needs to watch for respawns, but
a lot of players still here for the Mayhem.
Okay, that Gravitic Flux forces out an Immortality Field now, and there's a Blade here for Yaki. First, Twilight's Immortality Field is gone. Yaki gets a lot there, but Violet playing in that weird flanking position actually gets the trade kill. It's safer. Bob thrown in the corner. Great positioning there from BQB. Arts didn't know where to go. He'd already used his grappling hook, and then he just got mowed down by the bodyguard. Choi's in trouble as well. Just behind the shield for the time being. Is there an Immortality Field available? No, not with Twilight going down. It has to be a Transcendence here, and somehow that's enough. San Francisco again come alive. Again, Choikoven finds a massive accretion kill to turn the fight around.
Florida has lost some heartbreaking fights. I mean, they're starting to turn that one around. Like you mentioned, it was a beautiful Bob play.
And get a Transcendence. See, Byron wants to play in that doorway, playing safe, and well, he goes down! Oh no! Striker got the EMP on him and he just disintegrated. So without the Zenyatta, there's got to be a quick reset. Quick reset for Florida.
Yeah, 20 seconds, you'll have a chance maybe here to touch.
It's got to be awkward either way, Matt.
Yeah.
You're not going to be at full strength. It's not going to be nominal conditions.
No, but if you can get there, you have Transcendence and a bullet. Oh!
Get out! 2 for Arns on the trot, and that is, I mean, that's it. That's a nail in the coffin there for the Florida Mayhem. I mean, he came from ranked, and now he's in the Overwatch League making waves on Widow. Byram's able to find Arns, but it's a supercharger on the high ground, and Fate is so low. Gravitic Flux aimed at the Mayhem. Can they touch? Gargoyle just too far away. Tantalizingly close to at least keeping his team alive.